For 500 years, the dragon egg sat in silence. It rested on a stone pedestal in the deepest hall of the Grand Dragon Keep, surrounded by gold, ancient banners, and spells layered so thick they shimmered in the air. Kings had knelt before it. Queens had wept beside it. The strongest dragon lords had poured fire, blood, magic, and prayer into it. Scholars wrote thousands of pages trying to explain why it would not hatch. Priests declared it cursed. Others called it dead. But no one dared destroy it, because the prophecies said the egg held a future that could either save the world, or end it. So it remained. Cold. Silent. Waiting. Andrew did not know any of that. Andrew was just the janitor. Every morning, long before the dragon lords woke, Andrew swept the endless halls. He cleaned claw marks from marble floors and wiped soot from pillars burned black by dragon fire. He scrubbed old blood from the training yards and polished the armor statues until his hands ached. No one noticed him much. Humans rarely mattered in the Dragon Keep, especially humans who carried mops instead of swords. Andrew was thin, quiet, and careful. His brown hair was always messy, and his clothes smelled faintly of soap and dust. He spoke little, not because he had nothing to say, but because no one ever asked. Dragons and their riders passed him without looking down, their boots and talons echoing like thunder while Andrew kept his eyes on the floor. But Andrew had a habit. During his lunch break he liked to sit near the old egg. Not because it was important, he didn't know that. Not because he believed in prophecies, he had never heard them. He sat there because it was warm. The egg gave off a soft heat, like a stone that had rested in sunlight all day. Andrew would lower himself beside the pedestal, take out his small cloth-wrapped meal, and eat slowly. Bread. Cheese. Sometimes an apple if he was lucky. He liked the quiet there. The magic hum was gentle, almost like breathing, and for a little while, Andrew didn't feel invisible. "Sorry if I'm not supposed to be here," he would whisper sometimes out of habit. "I'll clean the crumbs." He always did. On this day, everything felt the same, until it didn't. Andrew sat down, unwrapped his lunch, and sighed. It had been a long morning. A young dragon had knocked over a brazier, and Andrew had burned his hand cleaning the mess. It still stung. He blew on it softly, then tore a piece of bread and chewed. "I wonder," he said quietly, staring at the massive egg, "what it feels like to wait that long." The egg did not answer. Andrew smiled a little at himself. Talking to stone eggs was foolish. Still he kept going. "I wait too, I guess. Just not for anything big." As he ate, a small crumb fell from his bread and landed near the base of the pedestal. Andrew noticed and leaned forward to pick it up. That was when he heard it. Crack. Andrew froze. At first he thought it was his imagination, or maybe the old building settling. His heart beat faster. Slowly he looked up at the egg. A thin line had appeared on its surface. Andrew's breath caught in his throat. "No," he whispered. That can't be." The line shimmered, glowing faintly like embers under ash. Andrew stood up so quickly his lunch fell to the floor. He took a step back, hands shaking. The egg cracked again. This time, the sound echoed through the hall like breaking glass. Andrew's knees felt weak. He had heard the stories, everyone had. The unhatched egg. The failed rituals. The centuries of silence. This was not supposed to happen. Not ever. Not to him. "Hey," he said, his voice trembling. I didn't do anything. I swear." The crack widened. Warmth flooded the room, stronger now, wrapping around Andrew like invisible arms. The air smelled different, clean, sharp, alive. The hum of magic deepened, no longer quiet, but strong and steady. Andrew should have run. But he didn't. Something held him there. The egg shook, and a small piece of shell broke free, falling to the floor with a soft clink. From inside came a sound, low and fragile, like a breath being taken for the first time. Andrew's eyes filled with tears, though he didn't know why. "It's okay," he whispered without thinking. "I'm here." Another crack spread, and a soft golden light spilled out. Andrew shielded his eyes, then slowly lowered his hand. Inside the egg something moved. A small claw pushed against the shell, trembling, uncertain. It slipped, then pressed again, stronger this time. The shell gave way, opening just enough for a tiny dragon's face to peek out. Its eyes met Andrew's. They were not fierce or burning. They were scared. The baby dragon made a weak sound, a thin cry that echoed in Andrew's chest. Without realizing it, Andrew stepped forward. He knelt beside the egg, ignoring the heat, ignoring the danger. "It's all right," he said, tears slipping down his cheeks. "You don't have to be afraid." The baby dragon blinked. Slowly, painfully, it pushed its way out of the shell. Its wings were small and folded tight. Its scales were pale gold, almost soft-looking, and steam rose from its body as it touched the cool air. The moment it fully emerged, the light dimmed. The hall was silent. Then the baby dragon collapsed. Andrew's heart stopped. "No, no, no," he said, crawling forward. "Please, please be okay." He reached out before he could think better of it. His hand hovered, then gently touched the dragon's side. It was warm. Too warm. The tiny chest rose and fell, fast and shallow. The dragon was alive, but weak. Andrew swallowed hard. "You waited too long, didn't you?" he whispered. 500 years that's not fair." The baby dragon stirred, then slowly, carefully, leaned into Andrew's hand. And in that moment, far above them, alarms began to ring throughout the dragon keep. Because the impossible had happened. The egg had hatched. And the one it chose was not a king, not a mage, not a dragon lord. It chose a human janitor named Andrew. The alarms rang like thunder. Andrew flinched as the sound tore through the hall, sharp and urgent. He looked up, panic tightening his chest. Heavy footsteps echoed from distant corridors. Voices, angry, shocked, afraid, grew louder with every second. "They're coming," Andrew whispered. The baby dragon shifted weakly, its small body trembling. Its eyes fluttered open, then locked onto Andrew again. A tiny sound escaped its throat, soft and broken. Andrew didn't think. He shrugged off his worn jacket and gently wrapped it around the dragon, careful not to hurt its fragile wings. "Shoo, it's okay," he said, even though his own hands were shaking. "I won't let them hurt you." The dragon pressed closer to him, its warmth seeping through the cloth. Andrew felt it then, not heat, not magic, but something deeper. A pull. Like two lonely hearts recognizing each other. The doors burst open. Dragon lords flooded the hall. Towering figures in scale-forged armor, some in human form, others half-shifted, eyes glowing with fire. Mages followed, staffs raised, spells already forming in the air. Then they saw it. The broken egg. The living dragon. And Andrew. Impossible. One of them breathed. Another roared. "Step away from the hatchling, human." Andrew froze. Slowly, he stood, placing himself between the dragon and the crowd. His legs felt weak, but he didn't move aside. I didn't mean to," he said. His voice shook, but he forced the words out. "I was just eating lunch. I didn't do any spell. I don't even know magic." A tall dragon lord stepped forward, his eyes burning gold. 500 years, he said coldly. 500 years of rituals, sacrifices, fire and blood. And it hatches for a janitor. Murmurs spread through the hall. "Kill him," someone hissed. "He must have tricked it. Humans are not chosen." The baby dragon whimpered. Andrew felt it grip his sleeve with a tiny claw. "Please," Andrew said louder now. "It's scared." "Move," the dragon lord commanded. Andrew shook his head. The air grew heavy with power. Spells shimmered, ready to strike. One wrong breath and Andrew knew he would be ash. Then the baby dragon screamed. It was weak, but it was pure. A wave of golden light exploded outward, slamming into the dragon lords like a storm. Shields cracked. Several were thrown back. The floor trembled. When the light faded, the baby dragon was glowing faintly, and Andrew was unharmed. Silence swallowed the hall. The dragon lord stared. Slowly, disbelief crept into his face. "It defended you." Andrew swallowed. "I think it thinks I'm family." A mage stepped forward carefully. "The bond," she whispered. "It's already formed." "No," another shouted. "That's not possible." But the truth was right there, trembling in Andrew's arms. The baby dragon lifted its head and made a soft sound again. This time it was different. Not fear. Trust. Andrew felt tears spill down his face. He hadn't been chosen for anything in his life. Not once. He was always the one cleaning after others, staying quiet, staying small. And yet this ancient, powerful life had looked at him and said, "You." The Dragon Lord's voice hardened. "If the bond is real, then prove it." He raised his hand, and fire gathered in his palm. Andrew's heart pounded. "What are you doing?" "A test," the Lord said. "If the hatchling truly chose you, it will protect itself through you. If not..." The fire flared brighter. "No!" Andrew shouted. He wrapped himself around the baby dragon without thinking. "Don't. Please take me instead." The hall went still. Andrew squeezed his eyes shut. Nothing happened. Then warmth. Not burning. Not pain. The fire vanished. Andrew opened his eyes. The baby dragon was glowing again, brighter now. Thin golden lines ran from its chest to Andrew's hands, wrapping around his arms like light-made threads. The Dragon Lord lowered his hands slowly. His voice was quieter now. "The bond is complete." The crowd stepped back. Fear had turned into something else. Reverence. "The first human-bound dragon in recorded history," the mage whispered. "Born not from fire, but kindness." Andrew looked down at the dragon. "You saved me," he said softly. The dragon blinked, then licked his hand with a tiny warm tongue. Andrew laughed through his tears. But the relief didn't last. Another Dragon Lord stepped forward, his expression dark. "This changes nothing. A human cannot raise a dragon. He will weaken it." Andrew's smile faded. "I'll learn," he said quickly. "I'll do anything. I'll clean every hall, every scale, every claw. Just don't take it from me." The baby dragon hissed weakly, wings fluttering. The hall shook again, not with magic, but with decision. "The hatchling has spoken," the tall Dragon Lord said at last. "And dragon law is clear." Everyone turned to him. "Where a dragon's first bond lies, there it must remain." Gasps filled the room. "You mean..." a mage began. "Yes," the Lord said. "The human stays." Andrew's breath caught. Ido." The Lord looked at him, eyes sharp but no longer cruel. "You will no longer be just a janitor. You will be watched, judged, tested." He leaned closer. "And if you fail, both you and the dragon will die." Andrew nodded slowly. He looked down at the tiny dragon, now sleeping against his chest, warm and trusting. "I won't fail," Andrew whispered. "I promise." Outside the hall, the sky rumbled, because the world had felt the hatching. And far away, ancient forces had awakened, drawn not to fire, not to power, but to a human who loved what no one else could. The dragon grew faster than anyone expected. Within weeks, the tiny hatchling was already the size of a large dog. Its scales deepened from pale gold into a warm, glowing amber, and faint patterns, ancient runes, began to appear along its wings. The Dragon Lords watched from a distance, uneasy and silent. They argued in council halls, whispered in shadowed corridors, and searched old texts for answers. But none of them could touch the dragon. Any hand but Andrew's caused the hatchling to hiss, recoil, or unleash bursts of defensive light. When Andrew approached, the dragon relaxed instantly, curling around him like a living shield. It slept beside him, followed him through the halls, and cried whenever he was taken away for training. They named the dragon Aurelian, meaning born of light. Andrew didn't feel worthy of the name. His days became painfully hard. He trained until his muscles screamed, learning how to survive dragon fire, how to read ancient signs, how to calm a creature born of magic when fear threatened to consume it. He failed often. He fell. He was burned, bruised, and mocked. "You are still human," the Dragon Lords reminded him. "You will break. You cannot stand against what is coming." But every night, Andrew returned to Aurelian. He cleaned the dragon's scales with the same care he once used on marble floors. He whispered stories while Aurelian slept. He shared his meals, even when his own stomach ached with hunger. And sometimes, when Andrew thought no one was watching, he cried. "I'm scared," he admitted one night, sitting beside the growing dragon. "They all think I'm going to fail. I think they're right." Aurelian lifted its head and pressed its forehead gently against Andrew's chest. A low, steady hum filled the air, comfort, not power. Andrew smiled through tears. "Thank you." The attack came without warning. The sky over the dragon keep turned black at midday. Ancient enemies, those who feared the prophecy, rose from hiding. Shadow dragons, twisted by hatred, descended like a storm. The ground shook. Towers burned. Screams filled the air. The dragon lords rushed to battle. Andrew was told to hide. He didn't. When a shadow dragon broke through the inner gates, Andrew stood between it and the younger dragons. His hands trembled, but his feet stayed planted. Aurelian, he whispered, I don't know how to fight like them, but I know how to protect. The shadow dragon laughed, a sound like cracking bones. A human shield? Pathetic. Fire exploded toward Andrew. Aurelian roared. Not a child's cry, but a true dragon's call. Golden light erupted, forming a shield around Andrew. Flames split around them, unable to pass. Aurelian stepped forward, wings wide, standing taller than Andrew now. The bond flared. Andrew felt it surge through him. Not strength, but clarity. He understood. Together, he said. They moved as one. Aurelian's fire burned clean, not destroying but driving the shadows back. Andrew guided him, voice steady, heart focused. He didn't command. He asked. The shadow dragon fell. When the battle ended, the keep stood, damaged, smoking but alive. The dragon lords gathered around Andrew and Aurelian. No one spoke at first. Then the tallest lord bowed. All of them did. You were right, he said. The egg did not need power. It needed kindness. Andrew shook his head. It wasn't just me. He chose to trust. The Lord nodded. And that trust saved us. Aurelian lowered his head, resting it against Andrew's shoulder. From that day on, the law changed. No longer would dragons be raised only by fire and force. Andrew became the first human guardian. A living proof that love could awaken what centuries of magic could not. And the story spread. About the egg that waited 500 years. About the dragon that hatched for a janitor. About a human named Andrew, who sat down to eat lunch, and changed the fate of the world. Andrew never asked for glory. And that was enough.